You will be
Hello,
next.
Duha.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, but the background noise is very strong.
The background.
It's okay
Now
now.
it's good. Now it's good.
It's good now.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So should I start?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Go for it.
Okay. So today I'll be presenting my project, which is called Plus House under the Dreamtown workshop. So just a recap from the midterm review. So the whole idea of this project and like the main concept of it came from the reason that the last few years the society has been changing dramatically because of so many reasons, such as the COVID-19 outbreaks, and this have twisted our life habits, and so then because of these reasons, flexibility and adaptations are becoming the new keywords in our lives. Jobs do not last forever, and people are even more frequently asked to relocate or commute. So this leads to an inevitable result of not settling and losing that sense of a neighborhood. So for example, things would be much different if the house we could buy could, for example, travel with us or change according to our needs. Obviously, there are so many uh, temporary solutions which can be taken into consideration, but at the end of the day, it's still temporary. And the residents perceive it as unstable solutions, and it's hard to consider these as homes. Instead, the Plus House residential system will focuses on the needs of the individuals using principles of recognizability, of recognizing the needs of the residents and their different lifestyles. Customization by giving the possibility for the individuals to design their homes according to their living situation. Flexibility by using metabolism architecture to continuously adapt the space layout and the structure to meet the needs. So the strategies and my research was done about metabolism, adaptive and kinetic architecture. So metabolism will be used in the structure and the modularity. Adaptive architecture will be used in the interior spaces. And kinetic will be used for the facades, for example, for the shading devices and also for the interior spaces. So after I was done with my research, I started doing 2D and 3D geometrical styling. So I started just experimenting with different types of tilings because we need to figure out a system that can be repeatable and it can lead to something um, that can be continuous and can change. So the first one, I started studying pentagons. So as you can see here in the first one, this was like one of the first trials. You can clearly see that there is a problem with the connectivity between the units. Like for example, if we say this is the housing unit, so they can be like 4 rooms. Then there is a problem with the corridors, and also there might be a problem with placing the windows. And also it doesn't produce like an organic system that can be repeatable, and there is a problem here when I try to play around with it. And then I try to have something a bit more simpler than this one. For this one, I managed to fix the problem of having like an access for the light and the windows. However, this one is kind of following a linear growth, which can be limiting. And then I went and I studied hexagons. Hexagons are simple, and they can be constructed very easily. And by just adding just simple hexagons and then mirroring it by this axis, you can see that there is like an organic growth that happens automatically, and you can reshape it, and you can basically produce so many different courtyards, which is one of the elements that we're adding in this project. So then the problem with the hexagon was just it's a bit too simple for this project. So I managed to develop this type, which kind of takes the same principle of having different units. And these units will create these different circles that will have different diameters, and then you'll have different courtyards. So you can see here in the 3D as well that you can see that the different circles are being created. So after that, I started developing it more and more. So I just started experimenting with it and seeing what possibilities I can get with having changing the angles and all of that. Like for example, you can have two big courtyards, and then you can have like a smaller courtyards, and these places can be used for public spaces. You can have a gym, or you can have a swimming pool. You can also create two smaller circles from the bigger circle. And then I just started just playing around with it to just know what I can do with it and how the courtyards will look alike. However, with this type of angles, I faced a problem with having an even number of the residential units. With an odd number of the residential units, and we wanted to create full circles, so then it will give the full possibility for the residents to do whatever they want to do, and they should not be limited by having this type of a split. So I played with the angles more, and then I managed to come up with this result, but I'm still developing it. So as you can see here, you'll have this big circle that will have 8 residential units, and it can be connected to a smaller units, and the space between them, you can add 2 units with a different type of a different angle. You can close it and create like a pentagon or something different than a circle. Our main goal is to have circles, but if I'm still working on the angles to achieve it. So this is kind of where I stopped at this moment, because I'm still developing the angles. You can see here I just placed in the side because the growth of it will probably be following this axis, so the individuals and the residents can have a view to the this is a crystal lake, and the view on this side is the view of Burj Khalifa, because my site is located in Dubai. So these are the two main sides, two main views, and it will follow this axis. So here's just the 3D, so you can understand how's the connectivity between the units. So this one is the high density, where all the units are installed and all the cores are installed and the expansions and everything. This is actually the project will actually not look like this, because there's like a very low possibility of everyone expanding their units and having it as a high density. So just to understand, these are the housing units, and then you'll have, this is the core, which will have elevators and also stairs. And the core is placed after each 2 units. There is a core, and so there's a core, and then it goes to the expansion, So this area is actually empty, and then if the individuals want to expand more, they can use this space. But if it's not being used for expansions, then it can be used as like an indoor terrace for the residents. Since the weather is really hot, and maybe you could like these courtyards, maybe they cannot be used for as the during the whole year. So these can be like a more of a suitable option. Um, and then you kind of see here that this is kind of the medium density where, like for example, if we take, let's say we take this side. Okay, so you have these two units. They actually like this unit expanded, but this unit did not expand. So you kind of have the space that can actually be enjoyed. And there's just so many possibilities of this system. And as you can see, I just made a couple of them so you can kind of see like the growth of it. For example, you can take all the units in the middle and then you can have connected courtyards. You can have connected courtyards and I just made so many like possibilities because there won't be like an end result for it because it depends on like the needs of the residents, which is our main goal to create like that sense of the neighborhood. So you can see here, this is kind of like a low density, and then this is kind of how it's gonna look like if they keep like more people keep moving in and having more and more units installed. Um, so then I just did like now I managed to only do 2 types, but I'm actually developing more types. So for example, this is like the starting unit. This is actually not placed in the 3D model, but I will place it in the 3D model. So you can see that you'll have a living room connected to a bedroom, a kitchen, and a dining room, and this place will kind of be like a storage or a pantry because there is a possible way of expansion to this side. So if they manage, if they want to expand it, then these walls will be taken out, and this is going to be the access to the second unit. There's another possibility as well that if you want to have a 2-bedroom apartment, you will just add this unit to this place, and then you will manage to have a 2-bedroom apartment. So you have type C, which is a 3-bedroom apartment when you expand to this side. And there's also type D where you have 2 units, of these connected together. So it kind of looks like this one. So you have 2 units connected to two. The 2 units are connected, and they will take both of the spaces of the expansion. So this one will create up to like 4-bedroom unit if they have a really big family. So I just did like a simple 3D model just to know if how the placement of the furniture and if it works because of the angles. And then I started looking for kinetic and adaptive furniture that can be placed here. So for an example, you can see this is an office that can be opened, and this is a closet that can also be opened. I do have like kind of a demonstration of how it's gonna look like. But I still need to like actually do it by myself. I found these in the internet just to make it clear for you guys. This is another one that can be placed in a smaller unit. Thinking of having another smaller unit where you only use these 2 units together, and you will kind of have like a studio apartment. And then you can place something like this that you can actually use this space more. Now for the next weeks, I'll be working on the structure and the facades and just on making sure that all the angles are correct and all of that. So this is what I reached till now in my project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Duha. I think
Hello.
it's nice. The logic is really clear, and the presentation is also very good, easy to understand. Maybe just some small comments, like the presentation slides maybe will be better if you could annotate them a little bit more, so we can see like we can understand it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely. You should really focus your time and energy in doing the structure and facade in the following weeks. Even if you can create this kind of simple like clips that can really illustrate your point and how the problem you have identified, like the fast changing society or the different needs of apartments, or especially in that Dubai cultural context. I still want to see that in reflected in the design of the interior. Yeah, because I still remember that you identified the issue in your midterm, right? So really want to
Yeah,
see how.
I do. I know where I'm gonna put it, so I did consider it in my design. But the thing is, there's so many things that I need to do, and I need to make sure that the rotation is correct, because if the rotation is not correct, then all of the units they change. So I need to make sure that that's correct, so I can start with the units and start with everything else. But it's gonna be placed right here where there's gonna be a partition that can be rotated. I think I did like a simple Maya 3D, but I'm not sure if I have it on my laptop or not, where the partition rotates and then it can be used as a extension or something. And whenever they want the space to be closed, then the kitchen to be closed, then they will close it back on. I was also thinking of having rotated walls, but it didn't actually work out because of like the placement of the furniture. So like I was thinking of having this wall to be rotated this side. So then that will kind of close the dining room and the kitchen, and will be separated from the living room. But I don't know where to place like this dining table. So I'm still thinking about how can I solve all these cultural problems. But I was just really focusing on how can I make all the angles work and having an organic growth.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about solving the problems for now. For me, I'm not really looking for solution to a problem, right? But I just want to see like how you manage to frame an issue, and then you with some like technology or knowledge that you can like talk about this issue in a different way, or from an architect's point of view to look at that. Yeah. So don't worry about solving the issue, but yeah, since you identified it, and I think most of us agree, and then we thought that was the one of the more interesting issues that you highlighted in this Dubai demographic. So we just want, I mean, personally, I just want to see like more of that in your final presentation.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
sure thing.
Yeah, in case anyone is preparing the comments, I think Alan sent many comments in the chat, and also like reference for your project. I think you can copy those links and look at them later. Alan saying, let me see. Alan has to go, I think, so he's just sharing the notes.
Okay, I'll
You
look
can.
at them.
I would suggest you to just like take his notes, and then if there's any questions, you can ask Alan in the WhatsApp group. I think you are in the group as well, no?
Yeah, I'm in the group.
Yeah, you can ask him directly. And then just one thing, like Ben, I don't know if like, I think Adrian like mentioned about the site plan that he can share with Duha, but I think I asked him on the WeChat group or WhatsApp group, and I think we haven't got a reply from Adrian. Do you think we can?
Yeah, I managed to get like a 2D plan for the site. So Yeah,
Oh, you did.
I used the same CAD mapper. My friend has an account, and I managed to actually download it.
Oh, nice.
That's
Okay,
great.
that's good.
I think I found the Maya video that I did. It's a very simple modeling, but it's regarding the issue that you said about the kitchen, that the one that I kind of uh, mentioned in the midterm review. So just give me a second so I can just send it to myself real quick and show it to you. Just stop my screen. Mm-mm-mm.
True. Yeah, I believe this definitely comes naturally with more experiences.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
reading
yeah,
lots
go
of
ahead.
books.
yes.
Go ahead.
In the midterm, Alan had recommended a lot of amazing books. So
Yeah.
So this is kind of like just a simple Maya modeling uh, that I did. So this is the idea of having the partition in the kitchen where it's gonna open. It will be folded, and then it will be used as like an addition for the dining room. And maybe it can rotate more. So maybe I can also rotate on this axis. But I just need to develop it more. But this is regarding the kitchen, the issue of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think what Leyland or your words like argued before, like now is the time to do it right, do kinetic architecture in a way that's responding to the changing needs of our lifestyles. So really want to see, like, I don't know if you agree. I think that should be the ambition, right? That should be the ambition of your project, to really tease out that statement, like, or maybe like try to present a vision, like why this is the right time to do kinetic architecture, or what kind of problems that or issues that it can cut across more easily than a conventional architecture way, static walls or static facade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the it's really nice to develop this, because kinetic architecture is something it's been here, been in the history quite long, but right now we really having the power of the technology to do it, and with the theory of the metabolism and adaptation of the housing units, right? So you really want to use your space. You want to fully use your space, but not like wasting a lot of space whenever you don't need it, right? So when you introduce the kinetic architecture, you actually using the kinetic to unlock the more possibilities of the spatial use of so the main goal is something called economy. So it's not really the economy, the word itself. It's the how you use the minimal work to do the maximal to do more things. So right, you put your kinetic element in your key point, and you can trigger a massive spatial change that free your possibility to use the space. And so So you can bring, as you combine into your metabolism or your adaptive complex, I think it will really make the whole Dreamtown very vital and it changing and evolving all the times, and it also adapts different types of people, different types of activities, right? So I think Duha, I think you don't limit your kinetic design by like any furniture or like partitions. You don't have to worry that much. You can even make your unit kinetic, or you can make your wall, your facade. You make all these things. Once you believe this thing, when it move a little bit, and the space actually having a maximum change, that's you're hitting the point, right? So I think overall you did quite nice, and it's nice, a very clear presentation, and you still need to do a lot, like the kinetic design. For sure, you need to do facade. You need to do the color coding of all these type you developed, and then you can categorize them and use the parametric approach to generate like different versions. You're giving the freedom to the user, to the people who live in this town, and they decide how their complex how they look like. So you can you're giving them a category of like maybe green space, public space, and they can decide and they can customize their complex, and still it is not like repetitive. It is more like organic. So that's why we need to study the tiling, right? So you don't want to use like a repetitive grid like everywhere. So this thing, this organization you're doing, this layout is quite nice. So I think you have a lot of potential, and I'm looking forward for your final, right? So yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
And that's true. There's a lot of powerful ideas in this design agenda. We're just waiting to, but we need to be patient. We just need to wait for Leyland Studio to show us more.
Yeah, I have a project to share. I think it's highly relevant, but it's my own project in uni. I think David has seen this before, but if you don't mind, I'll share my screen. I'll quickly go through it. It also uses a similar concept to the studio, which is kinetic facade. So, but it's not a residential project. It's about a food market. So I started off by studying all the components in a food stall, and then analyzing how they use the stalls. And then we started developing from the smallest kind of cladding, and then each of the cladding becomes like a cookie dispensing unit. And every time you push it, a cookie comes out. And we actually built it 100 unit and into a wall into these kind of mechanical facade. So the cladding is kinetic, the panel walls are kinetic, and then these become like bigger and bigger components and then eventually turn into a food market. So some of the studies, and also I built different scales of components and then add them up together. And these are the mechanical devices, which the doors turns into like a conveyance belt that serve food to 2 levels of a bridge. And some of the technical details So it turns into a market. So if you look at this, when the shop are closed, they becomes like a close-off gate or a facade. And then when it opens up, it creates the kind of path on the two sides, and also, yeah, excuse me with my comic sense in undergrad. And so there's like a comic explaining how these mechanical movement works, and then how it serves the food market. And then there's also the kind of vending machine type walls in front of it, which is like the prototype I built earlier. And then, so there's like an overview section of all the kinetic components, which is the so the one-to-one wall with kinetic cladding panels, and then the shops, which when you rotate them, it creates a path in between, and also the door itself becomes like a food delivering box for the upper level of the bridge. So yeah, not very clear here, but it becomes like a sort of upper level vending machine. So this is, I think it's relevant to the project because it looks at the different scale of the project. So you look at the cladding, you look at the smaller components like the furniture you show us in the presentation. But I think also by looking at these kind of movements in a bigger scale, how they could become like a kinetic architecture. So I think, yeah, the next step would be looking at the, like Leland said, the smaller scale with the claddings, and then also the configuration of these blocks and how they work together to confine spaces and create new type of spaces. Yeah.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Okay.
Very nice.
So,
Thanks.
good job, everyone. And so today is the final review, and I think after today, all of you should focus on realizing your project through beautiful drawings, videos, and things like that. So it's about the packaging and presenting your project in early January. And then the format will be the same. So you have 10 to 12 minutes to present your project. And then I think next time the tutors should, yeah, I think all of us will enjoy your project. So it will be less critical comments. But if anyone still thinks that the project can be much better or be even better, yeah, go ahead and provide the feedback to the projects. And same thing, I think you still need to talk about the research and design process and the final presentation, but maybe it will adjust the time on the research, make it more concise, and then you can spend more time on the design, the final design, show the quality of the drawing or the quality of your proposal through images and key images. Any questions about the following weeks? Oh, you are all clear.
I think everyone's clear.
Okay, yeah, so maybe